I'm John. I made a series breaking down the Raptors roster. We're going to go into each of these players, talk about their background, fit on the team, and what their individual goals are for this season. So if you're a Raptors fan, like and subscribe, and let's get into the video. Alright, getting started with the centers here. The Raptors' only draft pick last year, Koloko. He's 22 years old, 7'1", 230 pounds. Last season at Arizona State, he averaged 25.4 minutes per game, 2.8 blocks, and 7.3 rebounds. So Koloko grew up playing soccer before basketball, and he spent 3 years in college. That all culminated in a Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. Then last summer, he was the 33rd pick for the Toronto Raptors and signed a $5 million 3-year deal. Last year, he blocked all the shots in college, pulled down a ton of boards, but he didn't shoot any three-point shots. So Christian is the only 7-footer on this roster. It's in a pretty unique situation. We need him to get better and at least get to a point where he's passable on defense. I think the best games for him will be games where there actually isn't an elite big on the other side. That way he can just focus on rim protection, blocking shots. But long term, that's got to be his role. Take on the biggest player on their team. So it's not an automatic mismatch like Joel Embiid in the playoffs last year. We just had to send two at him because we didn't have anyone near his size. Now, shutting down Joel Embiid is a whole nother thing. But I think Christian might have some shooting potential too. He went from 35% free throw to 74% free throw in 2 years in college. Now, if that continues to improve, that offers potential for future shooting all over the court. Now, in terms of expectations, I think the hype is a little bit too much. People are just looking at his archetype, his height and size, and assuming, oh, he's going to be in the rotation from the start. That said, I think it's going to be a little bit more like Banton last year, where he plays 10 minutes a game, gets a couple DNPs at the start. And once we see how he actually fares, anything is possible with this guy later in the season. He does have huge potential to help the Raps in a ton of little ways. He lets their forwards play their own position. That makes them all more effective. And he'll eat up minutes, making the whole team better, give people more energy, and fill holes when injury strikes. The next center on our Raptors roster is Khem Birch. He's 29 years old now, 6'9", 233 pounds. Last season, he averaged 18 minutes a game, 4.5 points, and actually a 2.0 assist-to-turnover ratio. So Khem got a late start to the NBA at 25 years old, and he spent 6 seasons in the league. 3 with Orlando, 3 with the Raptors. His role on this team is for on-ball defense for the opponent's largest player, and to run the pick and roll. Nick Nurse says he does a good job of making the right pass out of there, and if he's got an easy shot, like a bunny, he'll take those, but he misses quite a few of those. It's kind of ugly. He's good for about 20 minutes off the bench. As for improving this season, I'd like to see him finishing around the rim a little better. Like I mentioned, those bunnies he's missing. Improve on the help defense too. Only half a block per game is okay, but as the big center on the team, you can do a lot more than that. As for role, I think he'll be a big loser of minutes. Sadly for him, Precious is going to take about half those minutes. Koloko can take the other half. He's going to need to have some surprising improvements if he wants to keep those, and maybe find some part of his game where he's elite compared to the rest of the team. That said, the Raps will be happy to play him when injury strikes. Our last center here is Precious Achiuwa. He's 22 years old, 6'8", 225 pounds. Last season, he averaged 9.1 points per game, 44% from the floor, and 36% from three. Precious was drafted 2 years ago by the Miami Heat with the 20th overall pick, and he came to Toronto in the Kyle Lowry trade. He went from a bench player on the Heat to playing 28 minutes per game in the playoffs this season. So that's awesome for this guy. As for his role, he's the best defender on the team. He's super athletic and strong, and he can use great coordination and control in the air to block shots. Defense really is this guy's bread and butter, but on offense, he expanded his role as well. He didn't shoot any threes in Miami, but shot 36% from deep in Toronto. He shot the same amount of shots from 2 as well, but with his larger role, twice as many minutes, by the way, the efficiency from 2 was down a little bit, and he actually had less blocks per minute as well. As for his role this season, I'd like to see him focus on defense, get Porter and Thad in his ear. His most valuable role for this Raptors team is going to be lockdown defense and blocking shots. Get those block numbers up, get at least 1 per game, and on offense, work on the 3, but don't fall in love with it. Be aggressive, put that strength and athleticism to use, score inside, finish strong at the basket. As for responsibility, look for the minutes to go up from 24 last season to maybe 30 this season. Starting at center is definitely in the cards, but success from it is all going to come down to defense and offensive efficiency. So all in all, last season, the center position was sort of lacking for the Raptors, but I think we're now 2 years out from having a super solid and big potential center rotation. Khem is here for 2 more seasons and can fill in when others are hurt, mentor a little bit. Koloko is going to develop more quickly than people think because he got into basketball a bit late, starting out as a soccer player. That said, I think he is a tad overhyped right now, but we'll see how he plays this season. Finally, Precious is a total beast, and I look forward to him fighting for and ultimately embracing that center role as an undersized but strong and athletic big. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, this series. If you'd like to see the power forward video, you can watch it here, and I'll see you next time. Peace.